Good evening. Welcome to the February 8th, 2022 Commission on Disabilities monthly February 8th Commission on Disabilities meeting. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The co-chair, the vice chair, Pauline Perno, is going to be a few minutes late. She was stuck in traffic, so I will do the attendance. I'm going to unmute everyone so that you can unmute it. I will do the roll call for the attendance. Pauline Perno, as I said, she'll be attending a few minutes late. Asma Abu Fuda
Here.
is present. Jason Barone
Present.
is present, and Mario Romanis.
Present.
Enza Goodwin is just dialing in because she has, of course, Tuesday nights have been a little bit of an issue with some other meetings that she has. So she's just on a dial-in over the phone. So she's just coming in as an attendee. That's why we don't see her on the screen. And also, we have a new member at our meeting, Robert Brown, and we'll get to this. So he is present. Item 1 on our agenda is a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the January 11th, 2022 meeting. I believe everyone had received the minutes that I had emailed them for last meeting on Friday. I'm not sure if everyone was able to take a look at them. If there was any problems or if anybody has any questions, please let me know in case anything was done wrong. If not, if I can have a motion of the members that were at that meeting to approve it. And
Yeah,
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Asma will approve it and Jason will second it.
Third.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, item 2 is an introduction and welcome to our new Commission on Disabilities member, Robert Brown. Robert, I know it's been a couple of months to get everything done and get you on here, but we wanted to welcome you here. And if you want to take a few minutes and introduce yourself to the other members, a little bit of your background, and I know from your resume things that you'll be able to add to the commission, but if you wanted to state a few things, we greatly appreciate it.
So again, my name is Robert Brown. Everybody calls me Bobby. So, you know, whatever's easier for you from a professional standpoint, completely okay with me. So I've lived in Revere since I was 19. I moved in with my now wife. I'm 34. I'm originally from Everett. And I personally have bipolar, severe ADHD, which I didn't even know you could put an adjective in front of it. And I have a learning disability that wasn't treated in school. So, but because of that, I've been able to dedicate a lot of time throughout the years with just taking time and finding out new things. And I currently, my adult job, I'm a mailman, and but I also own I have a holdings called the Wicked Group. I own about 7 companies that I run in Revere. I lease an office, and you know, I've been doing all of that. So my son is just turned 3. He has autism, and so in the last 3 years, it's been such a blessing in disguise to learn about all of these different formalities, I guess would be the word, that comes with the upbringing, learning about the diagnosis, just, you know, the certain therapies and stuff like that. But what really got me drawn to this was I've also spent the good part of the last year to 18 months reading about all the state and federal laws, whether I have to, you know, all the way down through the ADA, but especially, you know, given with my son, the directed towards autism, IEPs, all of that stuff has been a real passion of mine, and I've been able to use it because his initial IEP, I didn't it wasn't thorough. So I knew, my responsibilities and what I was able to do. So, I was able to decline all that. But without going through all that, I'm very outgoing. So I figured I could really be, because I know what I've helped my friends with and how there's no backing down with me. So I figured that me joining this, once I found out about it, could be just a huge benefit for not just the ASD and the autism and people on that spectrum, but any form of disability, because I have no problem being that person to stand up and say, that's not going to happen, or this needs to be done. So, I figured just adding, I figured it could be, beneficial, just adding a different perspective and, a different outlook on things to this board.
Perfect. Asma, you know exactly where he's coming from, correct?
Yes, yeah, I can hear him. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
the same issue. And welcome, Robert, to the commission. Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Mario and Jason, if you could just put your camera on, we can't see you guys. So
Oh,
just there we go.
don't-
Yeah.
I
I know you guys are in the same room, so that's why.
About now, go on.
Pauline, welcome. Robert, this is Pauline. She's the vice chair. As I mentioned, she was just in traffic. That's Robert, the new member. He's just introducing himself. So basically, as you got the did I sent you the agenda also, Robert?
Yes, sir.
So you see how we send out the agenda. What I'll go over it offline. If any commission member wants to add something to the agenda, it's usually the Wednesday, the week before, because I have to get it posted. So that's how we'll do it. But you'll also see as we go down this a spot that if something didn't get on the agenda, we can always bring it up. So I always leave a spot.
Right.
If anybody has any questions for Robert at this time, or I'll open it up to any member. You're muted, Pauline. You are muted.
I must have clicked off. I am having some issues with this. So if you see me disappear, don't be surprised. Robert, I heard you say your son is 3. Is that correct?
Yes, just turned 3 in December.
Kind of school, or is he right
Yep,
now at
he's,
home with you? Or?
No, I wanted to, he's in Beachmont.
Yep.
Right now. Yeah. I wanted to get him into school as early as I could.
Mhm.
And so the other thing I just wanted to, I know that you guys are all muted, but I have my personality and sense of humor could be misstrued, but trust me, there's never any ill intent. And circling back to my point would be, whenever my son, he's basically Sheldon and Rain Man put together. And the reason why I say this is because he could tell you the difference, but I line them up. He can tell you what a stegosaurus is, an antelope, a gazelle, a beluga whale, but he can't unbutton his shirt.
Yep.
So it's like, that's the idea on why I wanted to get him in school so much, and put that, and with the IEP, put that much emphasis into getting it exactly what needs to be done for him.
Right.
And so, because because he's nonverbal as well. So, but you can give him one direction. Hey, go, go put that in the trash. He'll walk through 3 different rooms and go put it in the trash.
Yeah.
But it's the idea, like I said, he can't undo a button or pull up his pants all the way, figure out how to pull his pants up from the back and not just from the front. And that's kind of my whole premise with. So yeah, so getting him in school as soon as I could.
Excellent. You have other children?
No, just him, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, welcome. Happy to have you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. What I will move on to now is item number 3 is updates and next steps from the January meeting. I know we had some carryovers from the January meeting. Jason was going to continue to try and do some research regarding the MBTA and their flex booking. I know
Yeah.
December
And
and
I-
January was tough.
Yeah, it's still, even trying to get through to them is like pulling teeth, because it's like, even for, just to give you an example, I applied for jobs and I couldn't even get through to the HR department. So I don't know what's going on at the T over there, but other than the customer care, which they don't know much, so it's hard to kind of, unless I get an ear of somebody, and I even had direct names for the HR. So it's hard to get a hold of people over there, believe it or not. Even
Okay.
for trips that I've had, yeah. But I do find, I will state that I've noticed that, and I don't know if this is the case for a lot more, but I've seen an improvement since they switched back to the previous software. And again, I think part of that's also because they're using Lyft or Uber for people, that have that. So I think that does help.
Do you
from
know?
what-
Do you know if they're using more percentage-wise for the Uber and Lyft than they were before, or do you?
Well, more
any
than they
inclination?
were. Well, more than they were, because the previous software, the one that they switched to, that the T was insistent on, turned out that it was telling them to have certain pickups and whatever, and they weren't using that as much. And they said, we stopped doing it. Now went back to previous software and it allowed it. I don't know what the original reasoning was, but it was all about timing. This is a lot better. I do see
So it's
that.
automatically, if there's not a pickup with the ride itself, it's automatically defaulting it to an Uber or a Lyft. And
Right,
setting up-
unless you opted out of that, which they do
Okay.
allow people to do, at least for your subscriptions. But I
Okay.
personally like having that option, because, if you don't and you rely on the car, and if they don't have enough drivers, you're going to be waiting a while.
So before it didn't have that option with the other software.
Right, it had to be right, and they had to. The office had to do it. I had to fight with them a few times. I'm like, well, you need to call me a
Yeah.
Lyft. I need to get home. And yeah, so big difference. I've seen it more and more. Plus, the Uber and Lyfts do tend to be more on time because they're pre-scheduling them.
Mhm.
So it'll give you like a 10-minute window. It'll say 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., let's say. So big difference.
So what I can do is, can I just keep this on as a monthly update, so you
Yeah.
can keep trying and reaching someone, and I will just
Yeah.
ask every month if you reach anybody.
Of course.
Does
see
that
if I
work
can
okay?
get it. Yeah, that's
Perfect.
fine, because it's
Perfect.
I don't know if
And
they're
I
losing
know-
staff.
Yeah. Another thing that we had was Asma was gonna, we talked last time about possibly having an ASL interpreter for our commission on disability meetings or whatnot, and Asma was gonna reach out to some of her resources. Asma, were you able to get any updates by this meeting, or you want us to carry it over, or?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna carry it over, but so I was looking for a college student who studying ASL and can volunteer in our commission meeting. So I contact a ASL professor and interpreter at the Northeastern University, and they said that they don't encourage students to do the interpreting for non-campus related event.
Okay.
Since they are still like learning. So also since the deaf community is protected under, I think, ADA, they require interpreting with working regarding to the city. So they recommended that I contacted the Massachusetts Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing.
Okay.
So I think we can request service for interpreting through them, but I'm not sure if they have volunteer.
Okay. Do you want to try and research that? And I'll let you spearhead that, and you can research that, and just, we'll keep this as an open item and go with there. I actually had speaking on that, I actually had a meeting last week with a couple of other commissions, and a couple of other commissions are also thinking of the same ideas, not just for the Commission on Disabilities meetings. There is one, the city of Boston, no, the city of Newton. I can't remember. One city is looking to hire a full-time ASL interpreter for all their meetings and citywide events. They're
Yeah,
looking
that's
to get
so
someone
great.
on staff.
Yeah,
So there is a lot of talk and discussions going on in different communities now about that. So which is a great thing.
yeah,
You know, for people that are hard of hearing, that want to be able to, you know, because closed captioning can only do it so far. And if you have an ASL interpreter, that goes a long way. I just can't remember if it was Newton or Boston. It may have been Boston. I think it might have been Boston. I think it was Patricia Menendez that mentioned it, that they are going to be hiring a full-time ASL interpreter for the city of Boston. I have to check my notes on that to see what city or town, but I think that is great news.
yeah,
And I really would love to see a lot more municipalities move in that way. Instead of, you know, you just see it on TV when there's a big press conference for, you know, gubernatorial or federal event. It includes a big demographic that needs it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I wish that also our city is hiring, like you said, a full-time uh, sign language interpreter, so we can have it in
Yeah.
our city for all the meeting.
yeah, no, that would be something great.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be something great. And I'm still beating the drum that I would like to see all our meetings in some form or fashion have hybrid to it, so that everybody can be included in meetings, because there are people for different aspects or different disabilities or seniors or whatnot that can't attend meetings but would like to be part of a meeting. And if their meetings were hybrid, which is both in person and via electronics, via Zoom or another type of a platform, would be able to be included in meetings.
Although especially those that don't drive, so they don't have the same
Yeah.
options or jobs that allow
Yeah.
flexibility either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still a proponent for that. So
Well, good, Ralph. That's, you know, I mean, that's more than we can say for the mask mandates these days.
yeah.
You know,
Sure, yeah.
we appreciate that, because you know, it's no offense to anybody else, but you know, you want to stay away from people for as much as you can right now.
Well,
Because
I'm gonna put it on another perspective. I'm gonna ask Robert, since you have a son on the autistic spectrum, and you probably know, there's another group of parents that are in the same situation. Would you feel it would be a lot more useful if all city meetings were hybrid, especially when you have children on the spectrum or with any kind of disability, to be able to attend a meeting that was hybrid, so that you wouldn't have to find childcare, you wouldn't have to leave your home to be able to be part of a public forum or a public meeting?
So it makes, from me, yes, that's
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah,
But
you have the choice, so you could have the choice.
correct.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if not from I'm not sure if you said that word, but mandating them all as being a hybrid. But my question, my issue, not mine, but in general, would be for single parents, for people, for kids like here we are with ASD, who need the attention, who, you know, I wouldn't be able to have an hour by myself, you know, unless I lock them in a closet or something.
Right. But if there was something on the agenda that you wanted to speak to at a meeting, it'd be much easier for you to be on a Zoom meeting than have to go to a public forum to be at a meeting, whereas you have to sit there and wait for it to come on, find childcare and things of that nature.
With that analogy, I agree 100%, because I'm planning for that. I'm preparing for that, to speak up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm staying with the Zoom as long as I can. There's right now, the state legislature is till April, that you can still do, fully remote, or hybrid, and it's in the legislature now to try and extend that also. It's not nothing is mandated, it's all choice. But it'd be great to, to have that choice. Not only for people with disabilities, people with seniors, people that have a different work schedule that can't attend but can break away from their work for a few minutes to when something's on the agenda that they know when that time is, and there's a concern that they want to be able to represent their say and whatnot.
I agree 100% because just like, we were talking about prior with, transportation, it's, let's just say for the sake of the conversation tonight's meeting, the sidewalks are horrible. They're coming to my office, which is on Squire Road. There's on both sides of the crosswalk, there's no access to it.
Yeah.
You have to walk over the snow piles.
Right.
And with the weather, it's ice.
Right.
So once you walk over, you're slipping right onto Squire Road.
Squire Road, exactly.
So is that something we can look into, Ralph, that why are these cities not, I mean, you look at Mass General, for example, and they truck the snow out. Why are we allowing this? This is dangerous.
They brought it up at the council meeting last night. What it is a lot of independent contractors. And to be honest, the DPW is doing a great job. It's manpower and time. Is what it comes down to, and they truck it out, and big businesses. You're talking MGH. Yes, they have an abundance of money. You can't just get snow and dump it into the water. It is all EPA regulations, environmental protection regulations, where it can be farmed to and where it can be stored. So you can't just put it into parking lots like they used to do years ago. So because it's on the road and there's road hazards and material in the road. So it's a lot more involved, but what needs to be done is, they just have to do it better on corners of streets, and the contractors not, putting the piles into those corners and blocking the handicap ramps on them and whatnot. We had that was a tremendous storm that we just had. It was so much snow in so short of a period of time. And then on top of it, then we got the cold front, which everything froze. Right. So it was the worst of worst worlds that we just got.
It just seems like sidewalks are not. I mean, we went by. An example. We're at a different hotel now. We had to move from the one to the other. This one, we went to go to the cafe, and the people, and it wasn't them. It was whoever their company they have the building they're in, didn't clean up the snow, so we couldn't walk on the sidewalk. We had to walk in the street. That's not acceptable.
Right.
There's got to be something that would push that. And I wonder if there's more contracting together, like if Boston and Revere and everybody started working together to try to do more of that trucking it out, so that there isn't the risk to those that don't have a choice. I don't have access to a car, so now I have to put myself in harm's way because they're worried about all the cars. And no offense, but people have other options. So if we could at least make it better for that, it just gets more and more dangerous, and it gets harder.
Definitely.
And I don't have good balance myself anymore. So,
right.
What that's like when you try to, I'm worried about falling and I don't know what's going to happen, and nobody to catch me. So, it's something that's got to be fixed. And then of course it affects, other people. So, but I appreciate you saying that about the hybrid. I think it's a good idea. And if we keep that, then we'll be in good shape.
Right.
Just to, Ralph, if you don't mind, so I can cherry pick off of that. I know exactly what you're speaking of because I walk in the street all day because I can't walk on the sidewalks to get to the houses to deliver the mail. So, I agree 100%. And it's not just, I deliver in Winthrop, so it's not just there. But the other thing, and I don't want to, like I said in my introduction, and Ralph, please let me know if, it's any form of like stepping on toes or inciting a riot per se, but the only way, everything revolves around money, like Ralph brought up with the DPW, all these contractors, they're making an exorbitant amount of money, but they're working, 18 hours straight. The only way to get things done right now like that, in my opinion, is going to be either making a phone call to the Massachusetts ADA department, or publicity, which would be calling a news station or something like that. But again, you're opening Pandora's box with that. But that's just my opinion. To have it done right now, those are the two options. But
Right.
again, it's horrible because it's such a horrific catch-22. Because again, I'm slipping all day. I'm falling all the time on the street because I can't walk on the sidewalk, but all of the snow and slush is frozen because I deliver on a peninsula. So it's that much more cold.
Right.
So
That's what I said. It's and especially how this storm hit, and usually, like the storm before, it wasn't as bad as this. We didn't get the cold front on it, and it wasn't as much. It was so much snow dumped so quickly with the cold front coming on it, and there was no place to move this snow. It is just an enormous amount of snow, and you're very limited as the way you can put the snow.
I wonder if they could look into some heated sidewalks a little bit. And some places have done that, where it's only during those certain times, but they turn it on so that it, melts that type of stuff. So you don't run into that because, you're able to kind of accommodate.
That's all money that's got to come from the federal government.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I got you. Yeah.
Where's the closest place you've seen that they have that? Washington, D.C. maybe?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've seen it, and it's rare. It's not a common thing, but it does help.
Just like a lot of the machinery, like the ice melting machinery, that they have the machines that will melt the snow, but melting the snow, it also causes an environmental problem. They run by diesel, they pollute the air. So you're getting rid of the snow and you're causing another problem. So it's like, what do you do?
But I wonder what happened to all those snow melting trucks that were around in 2015. I was talking to my kids about it, and they had no idea what I was talking about. It's that much time span, but when you think of it, go back to who's clearing the snow. Yes, we have state roads, we have city roads, we have private plows, we have contractors, and they're all going out with one very, very clear mindset, which is to do their job. But what's not happening is there's no overlap. And I think until that piece happens where there's an overlap and people are understanding that, it's fine that XYZ company is coming straight down and pushing the snow off to the side. But what they're not figuring out is that by the time the fourth or fifth passage is there and it's 6 or 7 feet high, what do you do then? And then, the city's getting upset that the drains are plowed in, but you've got private citizens that are plowing out the drains, and then you've got the private contractors that are plowing for the city that are plowing them back in. So again, it's a turnover. I have a job. This is my job. This is what I'm going to do, without the thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, but what happens then? Nobody's going to that piece. And I think until there's that bridge portion of figuring all of that out, we can anticipate if we do get another snowstorm, we are going to have the blocked driveways, the blocked sidewalks. I mean, for anyone who lives in a school zone, which I don't, but there are 3 bus stops in my neighborhood alone. I saw a child fall off of the snowbank that they were walking on into the street, which was a state road. I saw another student who almost went underneath my car on School Street by the high school. So, I mean, it's not just an isolated that it's over here or over there. It's throughout the whole city. So unless you're getting cooperative, someone to really take charge of this whole plan, I don't think that you're going to come down to having an exact or a better or more comprehensive understanding about what we're going to do with all this snow. So I think the most we can best hope for right now is hopefully no more snow, of course, but that, people there's an increased awareness as you're talking to folks. You mentioned this, that, or the other. You mentioned the big snowbanks that you can't see past them, that the kids are walking in the streets, being aware of that. So it's part of a conversation. It's part of a bigger issue, in my estimation. But
That's why I think you see more of a federal or state response in most cases, in most agents type things, because, and it's no offense to the cities, but you don't have enough people to support all that. And that's why,
Right.
the US
absolutely.
has a difficulty, because we're constantly, that's why you need more of there's too many people living here now to do this on a small scale. So
Right.
those type of things need to be more coordinated, and maybe that's something more cities together in a regional perspective or state perspective need to start looking at, so that it's controlled.
It would certainly make more sense even to just try to have the conversations across the board. Just like we have a regional 911 telecommunication center, you could have it for that as well. But again, you're looking at funding, you're looking at manpower, which everybody right now is short-staffed. It's not just the city.
No.
It's
Right.
everywhere.
And-
So I think
And everybody says, well, you can hire more people for the DPW, but the problem that you have is somebody looking for a job, would they rather go, let's just say, go work at a DPW for dollar amount this, or go work for a contractor that will make this much money? Where would they go want to work? They would go work for a contractor.
right.
So, so that's what cities and towns are up against too, when they're looking for employees. And a lot of people don't realize that, the DPW does yeoman's work for what they have and the manpower that they have. A storm like that storm that we just had, if you take a look at how many pieces of our equipment, just take the Square One Mall or Northgate Mall for an example. Look how many pieces of our equipment are in there during a snowstorm. I would beg to differ. They don't have many more people or pieces that we have in the city or town, and we're doing much more work than they're doing in those parking lots.
Yeah.
And so, and people don't realize that. Everybody just says, well, everybody's quick to throw the blame at a DPW or an agency, not realizing how much work that they have to do with what they have. And, they're out there numerous hours.
No, and I don't fault them for that, but it's because we all, if Boston was Revere, we were all connected somehow, or, I'm just saying statewide, if you do things on a more grander scale, just like we had to do with COVID, you start to see, and yes, it is a little more to manage, but long-term, you're able to get a better setup because you have more heads putting together the resources and ability to, instead of, well, this is mine, now I'm doing this, but then the next one does something else and they don't, because the people that are affected are the people that are the most vulnerable, which are your elderly, your disabled, and the people
and children.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the elderly, the disabled, and the children are the most vulnerable and most impacted.
Yep.
And I just wanted to mention, you brought up about the car rides and the car shares, about how that whole with the T and everything like that. When my son's first day of school, we were waiting for the bus and the bus never came. And come to find out, they didn't have any staff or a plan at all to pick up the kids, because they've been and again, learning about all these things. By law, they are required to provide transportation. And but of course, just the catch-22 is where I didn't have a choice. And they were saying that they're booking contracts weekly to get kids to school. And it was absolutely mind-blowing to me.
That's when the National Guard comes in. And
That's rough.
But that is a rough situation.
I had to take work off for a week to make sure that he got to school.
That's And if your son does get, just so you're aware, goes to a private school or any other situation, even out of state, they have to provide that. A lot of people don't know.
Right,
that on the
yeah,
federal
yeah.
level.
Like I
Yeah.
said, I've taken, I've put, so, I mean, I still daily am I reading, all of the Massachusetts laws and all of that
Yeah,
stuff,
it's a mess.
just to learn, have, knowledge is power, and I think in our situations.
That's why we all better hope, and that's to everybody that's disabled or has a family member that is disabled. We better hope that the Supreme Court doesn't take that up, because that's another talk that they've had. Because they're talking about ripping the ADA apart along with affirmative action. So we better hope that doesn't happen, because then that's going to be in big trouble. And we need teeth, shall we say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think, well, go ahead, Ralph, I don't want to, go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we can bring this up. We can bring this up on another meeting too. We can go off another topic. I'm just going to move on to item 4, which is the CPAC January updates and February events. In January, CPAC hosted DESE's, which is the Department of Education, Special Education staff, in a virtual meeting to talk about the ongoing RPS Special Education review process. They had about 25 people that attended, including Mr. Pierce, who's the grade 6 to 12 Special Education Director. Parents asked questions and voiced concerns. The next steps were to complete the survey from DESE. Enza Goodwin will be a part of the interview review in early February on behalf of CPAC, and then she will be able to update us on that. Also in February here, CPAC is hosting an open forum on this Thursday, February 10th at 6 p.m. They've invited school committees in hopes that parents can ask questions and voice any concerns. This is an RSVP event. It's again at 6 p.m. You can go to the CPAC's pages. I also have the link and everything on the Commission on Disabilities Facebook page, where you can get the links from. They're hoping to have a great turnout. This is great and a great opportunity here from our school committee and plan future steps for CPAC. I was watching a rebroadcast tonight of the last school committee gathering. I'm not sure, so I'm not 100% sure, and maybe Enza will be able to chime in. I don't know if she'd be able to send me a text. But I'm not sure if some of the school committee members have another meeting that same night that got changed. So I'm not sure if they're all going to be able to be attending that meeting. So that I'm not sure on that. So I just wanted to send an update on that. Item number 5, I believe I may have mentioned this last month from my CODA meeting. It's an update on Senate Bill 5254 regarding permanent mail-in ballots. It passed the House of Representatives on January 27th. It was engrossed with amendments. It now must go back to the Senate. And if it's approved by the Senate, this would be a great win, especially with for people with disabilities. And at the time that I put this agenda in, I said, hopefully it has a provision in it to also include special elections. And I read the bill itself with the amendments in it from the House to the Senate, and it does include special elections. That special elections will also include the provision for mail-in ballots. So I did read through that after I did the agenda. So now it's just got to go through the Senate, and they are taking it up. So I just wanted to update everybody on that.
I assume we're talking about in the state of Mass, Ralph, not on the national level, correct? Just to confirm.
This is the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
So,
Went to
yeah,
the-
we
yep,
can
the
be a
House
leader with it.
In the Senate. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Any election that's held in the state.
Perfect.
Item number 6 was the CODA Commission on Disabilities Alliance monthly Zoom meeting that I had on February 3rd. I have some brief notes on what we discussed. First, there was a discussion of the American Community Survey, which reports data on disabilities in small areas, which can be useful for estimating the population of people with disabilities in the town or district. So that was discussed at that meeting. Also, Patricia Mendez from the Disability Commission in Boston shared a YouTube video link that contains a lot of useful information about design requirements for housing in Massachusetts and addresses many of the issues discussed in the AAB training, which is the Architectural Access Board training. She gave us that, and the video has YouTube auto captions, which seem fairly accurate based on her brief assessment. Generally, text that appears on the slides is read aloud, but some diagrams or other images may not be described completely. She said she wasn't sure. So it's good for anybody who is visually impaired and reads the screen out loud as they do it. There's also discussions about the Institute for Human-Centered Design and the resources that are available that can help people learn about universal design. And they have created a lot of useful information that can be used to educate and clarify issues. And the last thing that we discussed at the CODA meeting was building code enforcement, specifically around accessibility. What can we do when a building is repeatedly in violation of code? What kinds of fines are or can be imposed, and where can the money of those fines go? A couple of the different commissions were wondering if a fine for accessibility issues or code violation could be brought back to the Commission on Disabilities. Unfortunately, it cannot. Any codes are violations for that through the Mass General laws, goes back to the city and town. But I mentioned that if a Commission on Disabilities files for a 21J approval to the council, handicap parking violations, that money can come back to the Commission on Disabilities and can be used for what seems fit for any accessibility programs or issues within the city. That's been one of the things that I've wanted to try doing, and since COVID hit, everyone knows where I've been trying to keep this commission afloat by doing day-to-day things with this, but I've also been involved heavily on the food and other needs aspects since COVID. So I've been wearing a couple of different hats, but that's always been my pet peeve on that, because there is a lot of people that violate the fines going. It just goes into the general fund right now, but that could be used for different accessibility issues. I'm sure people that drive down Broadway now see the great ramp that's being put in at the Legion, the American Legion Hall. That has been work in progress for several years. I believe it was back in 2018 or 17 that $50,000 was appropriated for a new staircase that I saw, and I had made a recommendation at that time, is instead of putting a new staircase in there, can we possibly change that and put a new handicap accessible ramp at the same time? So that's why it was delayed on putting just a staircase in there, and now it's to fruition, and it's probably weeks away from being done, and it's going to be a beautiful ramp and staircase going into the American Legion Hall. So that was a great project there. So things are getting done, and hopefully there'll be more of that to come.
I hope they start thinking of that, Ralph, like when you think of the T and how long that Green Line extension took, but like the Museum of Science where the Science Park is, that doesn't even have a safe way to get across. Just, that's nice that they're putting in that ramp. I wish people would think of those things, just safe ways to do things,
Right there. Yeah. I've been on some team meetings on that, and with other cities and towns, and believe it or not, there's a couple of train stations in Malden that are not AD accessible.
Well, neither is, I agree with you. I mean,
so there's a lot that I'm involved with on that too, to making public transportation. And there's some work in the pipeline from the T to make more accessibility at stations and whatnot. So I've been getting some communications on that. I'm part of a couple of groups on the T on that. So, I've been working on that also.
What about Boylston? Have they ever talked about that? Because that one's
haven't seen anything on Boylston yet. No.
Yeah, that's horribly not accessible, and it's just you know,
I
other
know they
cities.
put a couple of other stations in Boston, they just redid elevators
Yeah,
that are accessible. There's a couple of them in Boston that they just did. There's a few in the pipeline.
okay.
I can forward you some information.
Yeah, that would be good, especially when you're talking about, you know, I mean, Chicago did quite a bit of that. I know Atlanta had done their entire thing when it was set up. They did it, and DC has done it. So, you know, what are we waiting for? We need to step to the plate, and it just seems to be where, I don't know, we're slow to make that progress. We do a lot of other good things, but
Yeah.
Mass Health is one of the good things. We'll say that.
Yeah. All right, so that's what I had at that meeting. Item number 7 is commission members' late items. I know, Pauline, you had something that you wanted to discuss.
It was a link that I saw. I follow the Flutie Foundation, which was put together by Flutie and his wife Laurie, who are originally from my hometown. The reason I follow them, well, other than I'm interested, is there is grant money and money available to families who have disabled children who they are caring for. I don't know. I went on and I started reading it, and like I said, I'm having some issues with my Chromebook, so I get logged out very quickly, unfortunately. But there, for anyone who is interested in taking a look, you may want to go on and access the link. As I said, they're looking to support families who are dealing with being the primary caregivers for children who are disabled, who are ASD, a whole host of other diagnoses. I mean, they've done a wonderful job with their son, Dougie, and they're extremely involved. So it might be worth taking a look at if anybody's interested. So you can go look onto their Facebook page. It's under the Flutie Foundation. I don't have any vested interest in them. It was something that was interesting to me to start reading about. And when I got logged out, of course, I couldn't get logged back in. So I'm hoping to go back on. I'd like to find out some more information, and I will update anybody who's interested. I will put that on my agenda for next month.
Thank you. Yeah, Robert and Asma, that might be something good for the two of you. I don't know if Robert, if you looked into the Flutie Foundation before.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it, and I actually was waiting for the springtime to actually reach out to them about doing an event. One of my businesses, I get contracted by breweries, distilleries, and bars, and I bring TVs and video games for people to come play while they're enjoying themselves. But I have a residency and a great relationship with Sam Adams. So I was trying to use the premise of like an event space to, not of course directed towards alcohol in any way, but is to be able to host an event at a charity event or something like that. So yeah, no, I'm very familiar with them and both of their huge impact with autism.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any comments on that? Or does anyone else have any late items that they want to add?
Just as a note of interest, you know that I'm really involved in this whole traffic thing on the beach and the illuminated signs. Someone took down the pedestrian crossing sign, and they are now being held up by 2 of the orange cones, one on either side down by the state police barracks. So just a note of interest.
Can you send me an email on that?
I will, and actually I'll
put the location and an email on it, and I'll send it to the powers that be.
I absolutely will, and I also attach a picture to it as well.
Perfect.
I thought it was very interesting. I was coming up the beach and I was like, what the heck happened here? And who do they honestly think is going to see that signage? It blows me away, but I will absolutely do that. That's tomorrow on my roundabout trek route.
And I sent everybody the letter that was sent. You all saw the letter that I'm working with the Riviera Beach Partnerships for DCR to try and get some better accessibility down the beach and safety precautions for not only people with disabilities, but seniors and whatnot. Okay. So there is no residents in here in the public, so there won't be no comments on that for item number 8. Item number 9 is the reminder. If Pauline, if you don't mind wanting to read that.
I would love to. So as a reminder, the Commission on Disabilities, due to COVID-19 and the safety of all residents, is trying to limit in-person appointments due to the unavailability and use at our present office location. Residents can speak to staff from the 311 Constituent Service Center Monday through Friday when you call our office at 781-286-8267. They will be able to answer most questions, but if they're unable to, or you would like to speak to somebody and like a callback from our office, please ask to be transferred to the disability office's voicemail and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. As always, please let us know if there's something that you would like discussed or brought up and added to our monthly meeting agenda. You can let us know if you would like to speak on any issue or concern. The Commission is here to help and assist all of the disabled residents and families of Revere.
Thank you. So the next steps, we're just going to keep the MBTA tabled and the sign language information tabled. And Pauline, you'll see if
Yep.
Flutie Foundation information. As I said, the next meeting is going to be via Zoom, would be Tuesday, March 9th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Does anyone have any further comments or anything else that they'd like to mention? I'll just mention one thing. Just wanted to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day for next Monday, and special Valentine's birthday to my mom on Valentine's Day. Everyone, please stay safe. One other thing that I wanted to mention, since we did speak about snow, please remember to, if you can, if you have young adults or teenagers, try and help your elderly or disabled residents and, shovel out the sidewalks. As we mentioned before, snow on the sidewalks is very treacherous for people with normal abilities to walk, but it's extremely difficult for people with disabilities, any kind of a disability, elderly and students. So if everyone could please do their part, it'd be greatly appreciated. That's what I wanted to mention. If I could just have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So Mario makes the motion to adjourn.
Motion to
No, it was
adjourn
me. It was me.
towards the
Makes
assembly.
a motion to adjourn and Mario seconds it.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
yep.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And
Thank you very much.
Right.
if
Bye.
anybody
Have
has
a
any
good
questions, just get in
month.
touch with me. If not, we will see everyone next month.
You got it.
Bye.
Great night.